Alright, finally time for my 700k Q&A. I like the way that sounds. So, before we get to the questions, which there are a lot of, by the way, I do have a couple little things I want to say. I wanted to get to this video a lot sooner, but unfortunately, due to the coronavirus thing going on, I've been working quite a bit. Yes, unlike everyone, pretty much everyone else right now, the job I work at is an essential service. And no, I'm not talking about GameStop. Oh, they're terrible company. But yeah, unfortunately, I haven't been home like most people are, which is unfortunate because for someone like me, that would have been great because I have plenty of things I could be working on. But no, I have to go in. I don't know if I mentioned where I work, but I work at a pharmacy. And it's not like a retail pharmacy like Walgreens or CVS or whatever. Without revealing too much, it's more of a specialty pharmacy, and it's in a big facility. And thankfully, it's a very isolated, sterile environment, so we can get work done without too much worry. We do usually take people in for pickup orders, but we stopped doing that. Everything we do now just goes through the mail. But yeah, during the first week of the pandemic, things got kind of crazy, and things have stabilized now, but I have been very exhausted lately, and I come home, and I just kind of don't want to do anything except watch videos and maybe play video games. So, you're going to have to bear with me, because I've been doing that. Also, my allergies have decided that they're going to act up on me. So I've been sneezing a lot, and I've been having to, deal with that. I just use my nose spray, so if I sound a little congested, that's probably why. And on top of that, my face has been itching me. Specifically my eyelids and my nose, the two spots I'm not supposed to touch. So that's how my week has been going. How are you doing? The other thing I wanted to mention was I want to plug the gameplay channel again, Rob the Casual Gamer, because I'm trying to get more subs to that channel. Also, on a related note, I might be doing some gaming live streams soon. I don't know when this video is going to go up, but sometime soon around this time, I might be doing my first live stream, and all my live streams are going to be sent to the gameplay channel. I'm going to archive everything there. I will be doing it on that other site that apparently YouTube doesn't like you mentioning in their videos for some reason. But y'all know the one, the streaming site, begins with a T. Same name as this channel, Rob the Wonderful. I should have a link to it somewhere, but yeah, feel free to go ahead and follow me on that, and or just follow me on social media, and I'll post a link of when I start doing stuff. So look forward to that. I've really been wanting to do that for a long time, and be a good chance for people to interact with me while I try to decompress and hopefully get back to doing stuff again. I was hoping to start Cartoon Clip Show, but unfortunately I haven't had time to do any work on that. And it's on a series that it's going to require a bit of watching, so hopefully I can get through that as fast as possible. But we'll see. I do want to get to it because it is a Patreon request, and I try to get to those as fast as I possibly can. But bear with me. They will be coming out hopefully by the end of the month, but I can't promise that. Also, I want to do a review on Superman Red Son, which is a really good movie, by the way. But hopefully get a Rob Watches put together for that soon. But like I said, just bear with me while this is all happening. I am working. I'm not just being lazy. I'm just finding it hard to get motivated, or not motivated. Find the energy. That's the better response to that. Find the energy to get back to my usual work schedule. But we'll just see how things go. Who knows what's going to happen in the next couple of weeks. Alright, let's get to the question portion. Now, I do have quite a few here. I have 3 pages worth of questions, to be precise. I did try to get to everybody's question. I'm pretty sure I have everybody, but if I do miss your question, I apologize. Better luck next time, though. Maybe help me get to 8,000 subscribers quick, and then you'll have another shot. Or show up to my live stream, and maybe I'll answer your question, because that'll be a good opportunity for that. Alright, first question is BST, aka Teddy. They wanted to know where the podcast link was. So, I guess there was a little bit of confusion from the last video, because I mentioned that I was on a podcast where we talked about Kippo and the Age of Wonder Beasts, and some people couldn't find the link to it. I did put up a card for it. I'll put another one up. It's right there. I'll put a link in the description too if you want it. The podcast was called the Dub Talk Podcast. They usually talk about anime dubs, but I know one of the people that does it, and he invited me on to talk about a Western cartoon, because I guess they're trying to branch out. So he decided to invite me on. I should mention that in that particular video, I was recovering from a cold at the time, so I might sound a little bit awkward. That is unfortunate. I'm willing to do it again, hopefully when I'm not sick. So feel free to invite me back, you know. But yeah, you can find the link there. You can find it up here. Dub Talk Podcast. Go check them out. Cartoon Obsession asks, as a fellow cartoon reviewer who's been around for a while, I was wondering if you had any advice on growing a channel, even to a relatively small goal like around 1,000 subscribers. Boy, you're asking the wrong guy. I know 7,000 subscribers seems like a lot, but it took me like a year and a half to even get to that goal. From 6,000, by the way, because things are kind of slow on this channel, because YouTube does not like this channel, and I guess it doesn't help the fact that my release schedule is kind of erratic, especially nowadays. The best advice I can give you, I'm just going to kind of repeat a lot of advice I've heard. Stay consistent, you know, try a lot of different types of videos, see what people are viewing, you know, check your view counts, whatever has the highest view, maybe focus a little bit on that. And, you know, eventually you can branch off to other things. Have good thumbnails, have, you know, something readable, something that is going to catch a lot of people's eyes. If possible, have a consistent release schedule, which I don't, as I already mentioned. You know, pick a day of the week where you can upload a video. That way, you know, people know that you're going to be uploading on that day, and they'll wait for your video to show up. Also, you know, good audio, good video quality is good. Good editing as well. Yeah, that's really the best advice I can give right now. That a lot of that is pretty basic. They say that to a lot of, you know, up and coming YouTube videos, YouTube channels rather, and yeah, that's really all I can tell you right now. I guess try to stay interesting. You know, do your research. Try to keep things, you know, keep it so people are continuing to watch. But yeah, that's really the best advice I could give. I'd be willing to hear from other people how I can improve, well, you know, with the little rough spot I'm having right now. But yeah, good luck to you, I guess. Okay, the Bowser Prime. Has there been a show that you didn't like at first but started to like later on, and vice versa? I can't think of too many shows that I didn't like at first, but then I started to like. I mean, there's some that are like a lot of stuff I've reviewed, I look back on and say, you know, I was very harsh on a lot of stuff, especially early episodes of Cartoon Clip Show. But I'd say for the reverse, shows I liked and started to not like, there's quite a few of those. The biggest one I could probably mention right now is Steven Universe. I really did like Steven Universe for a long time, but then Change Your Mind happened, and that whole story arc rubbed me in all the wrong ways, and I kind of abandoned the show after that. I did see the movie, however, and I did think the movie was way better, mostly because Spinell was a very lovable and sympathetic character, especially what happened to her. But I haven't had a chance to watch the actual final season because I just couldn't bring myself to do it after all that. I've been hearing like mixed things about the final season, so maybe at some point I'll binge it. Sharky Girl asks, do you think for a movie/series, animated or not, is it necessary to create a plot twist to be a good show? Not necessarily. I mean, it does help a lot because, you know, you have a plot twists and mysteries and things like that. It helps keep people invested, keeps them thinking, keeps them watching, keeps them, you know, kind of excited to see what'll happen next. I think it just ultimately depends on what kind of show or movie you want to make, you know, because not everything is tailored to that. Like you could have a mystery type of show like Gravity Falls, or you can be a little more straightforward and not really necessarily have any big reveals or anything like that. And you know, sometimes you just want to do a comedy show, and it really wouldn't fit with a comedy show. You know, maybe you want to make a Sheep in the Big City, which really doesn't fit with that kind of thing. But no, it's not necessary. You can find a lot of different shows interesting, a lot of different movies as well interesting, and they don't necessarily need a plot twist. Just like I said, it just depends on the type of show or movie we're talking about. Unreal Wharf 1. On Cartoon Clip Show, there were several instances where your reactions to certain shows were like, sheesh, I thought Mortal Kombat Defenders of the Realm was bad. Would that be one of those shows you would consider giving a second chance to on the show, especially considering the Mortal Kombat animated movie? First of all, I am looking forward to the animated movie, and I will try to do a Rob Watches on it when it comes out. Yeah, there have been, like I said earlier, there have been a lot of times where I felt like I was a lot harsher to things early on in the series. You know, Mortal Kombat Defenders of the Realm, maybe a little bit. That show still has quite a few flaws. Bucky O'Hare is another one. Jeez, I'm getting to the point where I forgot, like, all the things I've reviewed. But yeah, there have been a lot of instances where, I felt like I was pretty harsh on certain things. Would I give them a second chance on the show? Probably not, because I don't really want to backtrack with Cartoon Clip Show. I know it's a lot of times a lot of reviewers will go back and, you know, try other things. James Rolfe did that with a couple of the games he reviewed for Angry Video Game Nerd. But I prefer to just keep moving forward with Cartoon Clip Show, you know, just review the next thing, and if it comes up in a video, if I feel it's necessary for the review, I'll mention, you know, I'll go back and I'll mention, you know, I reviewed this a while ago, and man, that sure wasn't that as bad as I remember it, so, you know, stuff like that. But as far as re-reviews, I guess, I'm trying not to do those. Mark Myers, question, what fictional character would you want to be your roommate? Like, who would I want to live with? Oh, that's an interesting question. It would have to be someone not annoying and not too insane and preferably able to pay rent, I guess. Richie Rich? Is that cheating? Is that aiming too high? I mean, as far as like rich characters in fiction goes, he's certainly one of the more likable, and you know, he does cool stuff with his money. So yeah, I guess so. I'd have Richie Rich as my roommate. Maybe he'll pay off my student loans. Brandon Hamilton, are you going to do a review of the final season of Star Wars: The Clone Wars when it finishes up? I'm not sure. I guess I could do a Rob Watches on it, since I did my big review of the Clone Wars series a while ago. I have been watching it. It's been great, by the way. It really does feel like the final season of Clone Wars. Like they haven't missed a beat with it. I mean, you could tell the animation is a little bit better, but they opted to keep the look of the original show, which is a very outdated look, admittedly, but it's kind of become synonymous with the series, so they kind of had to do it. But it was a nice touch that they kept that in. But yeah, Clone Wars, the final season so far, I think 5 or 6 episodes are out as I'm recording this. It's been really good so far. I like the first story arc with the Bad Batch of clones. They were really fun and interesting. Right now we're doing Ahsoka's story arc after she left the Jedi Order, which I was assuming they would do. I'm kind of hoping we see a bit of a bridge between Clone Wars and maybe Rebels, because Ahsoka was a big part of Rebels, and maybe we'll see how she kind of got to where she was in Rebels and Clone Wars, but we'll see. As far as a review, it's a maybe right now. Neo Gotham 2K39 asks, can I look at Phantom 2040? I could. Heavy Metal Fan 5000, can you review Sonic Underground or give your opinions on it? I could. I'm doing that teacher thing where you ask if you can go to the bathroom and then they're like, oh no, can you? Yeah, I actually forgot about Phantom 2040. I remember looking at it once and just immediately looking at it, I didn't like it because I think it's, who's that, Peter Chung, who did Aeon Flux and Reign the Conqueror. I hate that character art's design. It's just ugh to look at. I could maybe in the year 2040. If I'm still doing this, I'll do it. Who knows? Maybe we'll see. And Sonic Underground, also a maybe because I did review Sonic Sat AM, and I did bring it up. Sonic Underground fascinates me because I don't know why it exists. Because it's not based off of any game. It barely has anything to do with the comics. It just kind of exists in its own world, and I don't really know why it does. I remember seeing a little bit of it. It's much longer than Sonic Sat AM, so that'll be kind of a hindrance to me reviewing it. I did see it a little while ago, and it's like they tried to do a much darker, bigger story than Sat AM, and there's just so many stupid things about it that kind of holds it back. But we'll see. Reviews on those are, in the maybe. I do listen to requests, but I don't prioritize requests unless it's a Patreon request. So not to plug the Patreon, but it is I try to do stuff I find interesting, but it's nice to hear what other people want me to review. But if you really want a review, you gotta be a Patreon. You gotta donate to the Patreon. But I'll I keep things in mind even when people just mention it to me. Just FYI. Richie O wants to know my thoughts on Toy Story 4 getting the award for Best Animated Feature Film. I am not surprised at all. As we know, the committee of the Oscars is very biased towards Disney. Not all the time, every once in a while they throw in something surprising, like they did give Spider-Verse Best Animated Feature, which was really good. But Toy Story 4 does not surprise me at all. I didn't hate Toy Story 4, but I just don't think it was Oscar-worthy. Toy Story 3 was Oscar-worthy. Toy Story 4, not Oscar-worthy. But it doesn't surprise me at all because, like I said, the committee is biased. Not that the Oscars really matter anyway. It's just bragging rights. Rowley Dot, I think that's how that's said. Have you ever considered doing reaction videos? Yes, I have, actually. I was considering doing some for the channel, but I don't know if people are that interested in me doing them. Also, it's not typically the type of content I like. So I think it would be hard for me to do it because I'm not gonna be screaming at certain things that come up like, oh, new Smash character, stuff like that. But if people really want me to do it, let me know. I'll be more than happy. It'll be something good to do while I'm having downtime with all the things that are going on. I don't know what's good right now that I could react to. I guess, trailers for things. Also, there's always the problem of Content ID, because, trailers get, even big YouTubers that do it, when they're even given the footage to do it by the studio, still get Content ID'd. So, that's always a worry. But, like I said, if people want me to do it, I'll do it. Merrick2 wants to know if I'm familiar with Liberty's Kids. Yes, I am, actually. I watched some of it not too long ago. Might make for an interesting review at some point. A lot of surprising voice actors in that. A lot of like guest voice actors in it. Friggin' Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone are in that show, and among many others, just surprising. Just like look up the IMDb page for that. It's very interesting. I could do a review on it again. You know, I could, but yes, I am familiar with it. I think it's pretty good. As far as historical accuracy, I can't really say for sure. I'd have to do more research on it. But if you want, you know, a nice little cartoon about American history to show to someone younger, then Liberty's Kids is pretty good. Anime Freak wrote, I like to know is your grading scape because I like character and story more than art. I guess they want to know my opinions on story versus art. Well, obviously story is very important. You know, you have to have your story before your characters. You know, that's typically how a pitch works. You know, it's just a couple of sentences of like a synopsis of what your movie or your show's about. Character art is very important though. One thing that I did learn when I was in school for film was when you're designing a character, one good way to start is you create a silhouette, like a just completely black silhouette, and then you fill in the character. Like if you want a certain character, like you want like an old man or something, you kind of make it like hunched over a little bit, and then you know you fill in like the details later on, and that's usually how you get really good character design. Steven Universe did that very well. Like every character is distinguishable if you were to just remove all their color. But yeah, a story is usually more important to me than character art. Although not to take anything away from character design, it is again very important. But you gotta have a good story first. SR Nobody, if you could choose any Disney movie to have an animated series, i.e. Tangled the animated series or Big Hero 6 the animated series, which would you pick and how would you imagine at least 2 or 3 seasons of it going? Oh geez. Two or 3 seasons, jeez. Well, it's kind of irrelevant at this point, but I would have loved to have seen a series based on the Rescuers. And it seemed like they were trying to go for that for a while, because they had 2 movies. Like, The Rescuers Down Under was the first Disney sequel, and it's probably the best of all the Disney sequels, which, you know, the competition is not that stiff. But, of course, you know, we got Chippendale's Rescue Rangers, which was kind of the same thing, although it was a bit different, because, like, Rescuers was more... They were more like a spy network, whereas Rescue Rangers, they were kind of, like, freelance or something. I don't know what the word... Vigilantes? They kind of acted on their own, you know. They weren't part of any organization or anything. But yeah, that at the time would have been kind of interesting. I would have loved to have seen maybe the characters from Rescuers integrated with Chippendale, because they feel like they could be from the same world, you know. Maybe they'll do that if they, you know, incorporate Chippendale Rescue Rangers into the DuckTales universe now, which apparently they're doing. Let me see. I think Wreck-It Ralph could have worked well as a series. In fact, I would have preferred that over the sequel. You know, you can get, you know, more adventures and different games and stuff like that. There's a lot of possibilities with Wreck-It Ralph. You'd have to get a lot of licenses, though, but I'm sure Disney's is cool with that. As far as, I don't know how far that would go with 2 or 3 seasons. I'm sure that would probably fizzle out after a while, because, you know, there's only so much you can do with that premise. But I think a good solid season or 2 could have came out of that. I've harped about this before, but I would love to see them redo Black Cauldron and do it as a series, because one of the reasons why the Black Cauldron movie was so bad was because they based one movie off of an entire book series, and you can't do that. That's cramming too much into one movie. I feel like it would work best as a series, you know, follow the books, maybe expand it a little bit. I don't know if 3 seasons can get out of it. I forget how long the book series is. I've been meaning to read it, but I can't find it anywhere. Um, yeah, I would love to see them give that one another try because I do enjoy that movie for all its faults, and it definitely deserves a something better. Not another movie, but a series. A series would definitely work best for it. Why not? Ass. Is there a story behind your nickname, Rob the Wonderful, or is it something you came up with on a whim? A little bit of both. I don't really do this anymore, but because I have to keep consistent because I'm a content creator. Um, every once in a while, I would way back, in like the early days of the internet, I would change my username a lot. Like I would go on different forums as different names and stuff. Try to find me. You never will because I'm pretty sure a lot of those forums don't exist anymore. But I would do that a lot, and I think it was about the time I got my Twitter for the first time, and I was gonna change, make a crazy name for my Twitter, and I was gonna name it Robert the Wonderful, which is it was supposed to sound like a knight's title or something like that. Unfortunately, the username for Twitter was not long enough for that, so I just shortened it to Rob the Wonderful, and I've kind of stuck with that ever since. If I can be completely honest, I'm kind of tired of it, but we can't go back on it now, so yeah, that's basically the story of my name. HeatXZ asks, what 6 video game characters do you want to show up in the next Smash Brothers for the Season 2 DLC? Well, as I'm recording this video, and probably, I think, in the time between this question was asked, apparently we've got some kind of confirmation for the first character they're going to reveal. I don't know if this is confirmed or not, but apparently it's going to be a character from the game ARMS, which I guess makes sense because it is a Nintendo property, and they probably want at least one of their own properties in there at this point, a new one rather, because it's mostly Nintendo. I'm gonna assume it's gonna be Ribbon Girl, because for one, Springman is already a trophy, an assist trophy. So if they take a character from an assist trophy and put them in the main roster, does that mean that the assist trophy goes away, or is that going to stay? I don't know how that works. But I think Ribbon Girl is likely because, well, she's kind of the second mascot of that game. Also, I'm pretty sure they want to put more females in the roster. Aside from Byleth's alternate skin, the last female in the game was Piranha Plant. And yes, Piranha Plant is female. Look it up. But as far as my 6 picks, I think a lot of my choices are the same for a lot of people. I want Shantae because I played the first Shantae game on the gameplay channel and I had a rough time with it, but I do like the characters and I think she would fit pretty well as a fighter with all different kinds of attacks and everything. One of her things is that she changes into animals, which you could utilize a lot of that. A lot of people were torn between Doom Slayer or Doom Guy, whatever his name is from Doom, and Master Chief. I think Doom Guy would be best because as great as Master Chief is, Doom is a much more prominent and important game. Also, the new Doom just came out, so I think it would fit pretty well. Also, it'll allow a gun-using character in the game, which we haven't really seen too many of those, because mostly brawlers and sword boys, which is getting kind of boring, so I think another gunner would be good. Sakurai said that the game is supposed to be a celebration of gaming, not necessarily just a fighting game, so I'm trying to think of genres that we haven't touched on yet. I know first-person shooters hasn't really been explored, so I have a feeling that we'll see an FPS character next. But I think indie games deserve, a chance to be in Smash, and there's a lot you could pick from. A lot of people want to go to Undertale or Cuphead or one of those games. People would argue Shantae is an indie game, but I don't know if WayForward is really considered indie at this point because they make a lot of games. But if I was to pick an indie game character, I'm going to go all the way back to Cave Story. I think Quote and Curly Brace, either one or perhaps both, you can have alternate characters because they're basically the same. You know, like how they did with Byleth. You can have male, female, you know, alternate skins. Because, like I said, they are basically the same character. I think Cave Story should be represented. And I'm pretty sure that is pretty popular in Japan, so that would go over pretty well. I would like to see maybe another Sega character. Maybe not necessarily a Sonic character, but maybe something from one of the other games, like maybe Axel from Streets of Rage, or Ulala. Ulala from Space Channel 5 would be really good, because you can do a lot with her her character, because her whole thing is a rhythm. Her game is a rhythm game, and you know she fights by dancing, and there's a whole bunch of things you can do with that. So yeah, some new Sega character, not necessarily a Sonic character, but someone from Sega. I would like to see a new Pokemon in there. I would like to see, and this is a big request too, Sceptile, because one, he's a character in Pokken Tournament, so you already kind of have a fighting set for him, and two, two, he represents a different generation, which I think deserves, you know, if they're gonna put Pokemon in the game, they should, you know, can't talk right now, space things out a little bit. Also, it'll help balance the Pokemon out, because taking into account the Pokemon trainer, we have 2 fire types and 2 water types, because you have Incineroar and Greninja, and then for Pokemon trainer you have Charizard and Squirtle, and then you just have Ivysaur as a grass type, so I think another grass type would work pretty well. And finally, I know this is going to be a long shot, I would like to see anybody from Chrono Trigger. Chrono Trigger is my favorite game, and I would love to see anybody represented. Chrono would be an obvious choice. Maybe get Robo or Ayla to be brawlers, again, putting brawlers in the game. Although, I would love to see Magus as a playable character, because he's a powerful magic user, he has a scythe, and he has a lot of like weird moves. Like when you run with him, he doesn't run, he kind of puts his arm, oh, I'm knocking things over, he puts his arms out and he glides, so that would be kind of cool to incorporate as, you know, his dash, or maybe like a recovery move or something like that. I really doubt it'll ever happen, but I'm kind of holding out hope that Chrono Trigger will be represented in Smash. We'll just have to wait and see. You know, who knows what Sakurai has in mind, because he's kind of crazy, as we all know. Some other characters would be kind of cool. I know Andre, Black Nerd Comedy, mentioned Travis Touchdown from No More Heroes. I think he would be a really good pick. But who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. You know, at this point, requests are kind of irrelevant. So hopefully we get at least some good characters as part of the final the second set, and not just more Fire Emblem characters. All right, that was kind of a long one, so I'll try to speed my way through a lot of these. Dave Cameron wants to know, have you checked out the GoBots comic book by IDW last year? No, I haven't. I know IDW has been doing a lot of really cool stuff, and I've read a lot of really good comics from them. I know I've been meaning to just read the Hasbro Revolution series, but that's like a whole bunch of different comic series, and then the big crossover in the middle. But it's gonna be. I'm waiting to see if there's like a collection of it somewhere that I can get, you know, a lot easier. But no, unfortunately, I haven't read the GoBots comic. I know they keep trying to bring back GoBots in you know, different forms, and I'm all for it. I mean, I wouldn't mind them just integrating them into the Transformers universe like entirely. But I don't know. Is it any good? Maybe if people recommend it, I'll read it. Puppet Unity asks, have I watched the Owl House cartoon? I have not. I never got a chance to watch it. I've heard from pretty much everybody that it's really good. I do have time at work, because at my job I get 3 breaks, so I've been catching up on a lot of watching on my breaks on my phone. So maybe I'll keep that in mind as one I should probably binge. Again, I've heard really good things about it, so I'll watch it at some point. Anthro Mike asks, do I know the Moomins? I am familiar with the Moomins for the most part. I know they're Moomins are like it was like a Scandinavian property. I want to say some like Northern Europe, I believe. Also very popular in Japan too. They're basically like these forest dwellers, and they look like hippos or something like that. And then they have like a couple of human friends or human-like friends or some, I don't know. I'm vaguely familiar with it. I know who the Moomins are. I just never really delved into Moomin lore, unfortunately. Lob City 2.0. Would I consider doing a cartoon clip show on the Ronald McDonald VHS tape series? I've been thinking about that one for a while, and I actually do have, I think, all of the tapes. They're up there on the the tower of VHS tapes that you can't see right now. I'll probably put in a clip of it. I have the 5 issues. I could have sworn I heard there were 6, but the 6th one is like rare or something like that. I don't know. I'll have to look into it later. I have, yeah, I thought about it many times. I don't know why I never got around to it. Maybe something to consider for a future review, but I'm not going to prioritize it right now. I know Quentin Reviews did a video on it a long time ago, and his review of it was pretty funny. But we'll see. Again, I'll consider it. Decamaster 365. Do I still have the Dragon Dagger from the earlier episodes? Yes, I do. It's still in the same spot, actually. For those of you who don't know, when I did early Cartoon Clip Show episodes, I used to stand over there in front of my wall unit with all my stuff behind me. And one of the things on the wall was a toy Dragon Dagger from Power Rangers. There's an interesting story behind that toy, by the way. It's not actually mine. It belonged to my cousin, who had a huge crush on Tommy when she was younger and Power Rangers was new. And there was a time, not a couple of years ago, when I was going to go to a convention, and Jason David Frank was going to be there. And I got in contact with my cousin, and I said, "Hey, do you still have your Dragon Dagger?" And she's not into Power Rangers anymore. So I asked her if I could have it because I was going to meet Jason David Frank, and she sent it to me. And I took it to the convention, and I had him autograph it. So it's actually autographed by Jason David Frank. So that's pretty cool. Someone suggested a while ago, and I don't know if this guy is like still around or anything, that if I ever meet the original Green Ranger, like the Japanese guy who played the Green Ranger in the original Sentai series, if I should, not Sentai, Tokusatsu, right? That's Tokusatsu. If I should ever meet him, I should have him autograph the other side. So it would be like the ultimate like fangasm weapon. But yes, I still have it. I'll put in a clip of it showing off the autograph and everything. By the way, I'd like to point out that apparently the batteries are still good. I don't know how well you can hear that, but I don't think the batteries in this were ever changed. So I'm kind of impressed by that. TMN Isaac asks, will I consider doing a Let's Play on a Super Nintendo game you wanted to play for so long but couldn't get around to playing for the Gameplay channel? Perhaps. I was meaning to play through the Breath of Fire RPGs because I really liked the first one, and I have the cartridge for it, and I played a little bit of the second one, and I like that one too, but unfortunately I don't have the cartridge for that. But they did release them on the Switch, so I could do that. I'm going back to my favorite game. I was considering doing a playthrough of Chrono Trigger on the Gameplay channel, because I know some people were doing it recently, like Vinny from Vinesauce did it, and they did it on Game Grumps as well. I just gotta find the time for it, because it is an RPG, and it's gonna take a while. I'm trying to think of SNES games that I never played or never had, and I've been wanting to do a video on. I actually never had any of the Donkey Kong Country games. I have the first 2 right now, but I never had them when I had first had my Super Nintendo. I know my cousin had them, and I know people love those games, but I never got around to really playing them. Maybe Super Punch-Out too, because I do like Punch-Out, and I know Super Punch-Out is very different from the SNES Punch-Out, or the NES Punch-Out rather. Those might be possibilities. I believe those are also on the Switch, so at least recording them will be a lot easier. Anybody got any recommendations for stuff to play for the gameplay channel? You know, let me have it. I'll see if I can get around to it. Sebastian Moreno, hey Movie Brat, would you be open to a Doctor Who animated series? Sure. I think Doctor Who would lend itself well to animation. In fact, they kind of already dabbled in animation already, and I have, where is it? Where is it? It's here. Oh, there it is. I do have this, which is the David Tennant Doctor Who. They kind of tried doing animation with it. From what I've seen of this, though, it's not very good. Interesting thing about this DVD, it's Region 2. It's, I think I've showed this off before, but it's a Region 2 DVD. I found this at a local Goodwill. I don't know what a Region 2 DVD was doing in a thrift store in South Florida, but there it is. Now it's in my collection. And I know they tried to do a Doctor Who series before. There were actually 2 attempts at Doctor Who, as a Doctor Who cartoon series in the 80s. And I was going to talk about these in a video I was going to call 5 animated series that almost happened but didn't, or something like that. I need to come up with more examples of this, but you know, before I do that video. But there were two attempts at Doctor Who animated. The first one was going to be done by Nelvana from Canada, and looking at the concept art for it, it looked really cool. Like, it's very intricate, and you know, Nelvana always did really good work, especially in like the 70s and 80s. And there was going to be another one done by Hanna-Barbera. Yeah, Hanna-Barbera almost had the rights to Doctor Who, but BBC kind of pulled out at the last minute, as well they should have. Very interesting story about what happened to that concept, though, and if I ever get around to making the video, I'd love to talk about it. I'm sure you can look it up right now, but, you know, where's the fun in that? But, yeah, a Doctor Who animated series would work out really well, I think. Pac-Man Plays wants to know who's my favorite Digimon. Let me just say, for the record, that I have very little attachment to Digimon. I remember watching the first season of it, you know, when it was new in the U.S., and I kind of liked it, but I got a little bit bored with it, and I kind of, you know, bailed on that series. Maybe I wasn't quite the target age group for it, but, you know, I recognize, you know, the good aspects of it. But to answer your question, my favorite Digimon is Gomamon. And I base that on nothing other than the fact that he's adorable. I know absolutely nothing about that Digimon, but he's just adorable. Future Rob, put up a picture. Look at him. He's so cute. I love him. He's my best friend now. All right. Yeah, that's my answer. Gomamon, best Digimon. I will debate you and just show you a picture of him. So like, look at him. He's adorable. Best Digimon. Julia Goodwin, what do you think of the current state of Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network? I'm going to be honest, I haven't really watched a lot of TV lately. So I don't know too much about what's been going on either channel. I know Cartoon Network lately has been kind of hit or miss, and they need another, you know, big hit, you know, now that Steven Universe is gone, and as they said on Twitter, it's kind of the end of an era with the end of Steven Universe, so they need to pick up the pace. Infinity Train has been doing well for them, and I guess we're going to get more of it at some point. And I do like Infinity Train. I highly recommend it. I don't know what's going on with like their other stuff. Like, they're still doing Teen Titans Go for some reason. I cannot fathom why. And of course, Thundercats Roar is still a problem. But I don't really know much about what's going on with Nickelodeon. I know, you know, SpongeBob. They're still milking that SpongeBob for all it's worth. And I guess with Nickelodeon, you know, they kind of... Nickelodeon has a problem of just, like, you know, shooing away good shows that they get. Like, Harvey Beaks is a good example of this. That show deserved so much better than what Nickelodeon did to it. There was also that show, Welcome to the Wayne, which kind of disappeared for no reason. Well, I'm sure there was a stupid reason for it, but I really did like it. And I think that show could have did pretty well on Cartoon... you know what? It should have went to Cartoon Network. would have been treated better on Cartoon Network. But I don't know what happened with Nickelodeon. You can find the episodes online, the first season. I don't remember if there's going to be a second. Probably not. But I did enjoy it. It tried to kind of do what Gravity Falls did, but it did its own thing for the most part. So I don't know. It's just kind of seems to be kind of up in the air right now, from at least from my perspective for both channels. But I don't know. Let me know what's going on with Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network, I guess. Okay, so these next two questions are kind of similar, so I'm going to answer them both at the same time. Lucas Shoemake, what are some of the cliches that bug you most in film? And Quitsets Hadarash, I hope I said that right. What are the worst cliches in animation that you really hate? I think the easy answer is the liar revealed. I think we all know what that one is. In case you don't know, it's like when a character does something for their own personal gain, but then they end up doing a lot of good because of it, and they kind of change as a character, but then all the other characters found out that they were being selfish initially, and then they all hate them for some reason, and they completely not acknowledge all the good that they did while they were trying to be selfish, or the fact that they changed as a person. This kind of thing was, big in like the 90s. You don't really see it much nowadays, but, when I did my review of Klaus, that was, a big plot point of the movie, and I really feel like it's one of the few, bad things that movie did. The movie's still great, by the way, despite the glaring, overused cliche that they had. But yeah, it is very tiring, and it doesn't make a lot of sense either. Like, if that situation happened in real life, would people really hate that person for everything that they did? Wouldn't they say, hey, you tried to buy out all these things, but then we ended up building an orphanage, sure, you were bad, but look what we have now, I hate it. It's such a frustratingly bad cliche. I really can't think of too many other overused cliches. Maybe trying to mimic, what other... I gotta stop touching my face. Maybe trying to mimic, what other more popular things are doing. A lot of shows tried to mimic Adventure Time when it came out, and whenever a big movie comes out, like whenever there's like a big crossover event, like what the MCU did, suddenly every studio wants to do it. Oh, Universal's got to have its Dark Universe. Hasbro's got to have its Hasbro Universe. Hanna-Barbera's got to have a universe too. It gets tiresome after a while, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be bad, but it's just glaringly obvious that they're just trying to ride the flavor of the week. Despite the fact that the MCU was around for like over a decade. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe the Hanna-Barbera universe will be good, because honestly, the Scoob movie actually does look pretty good, and I will check that out whenever I get around to it. Jonathan LaBelle wants to know, what do I wish more cartoons would do? Have really cool intros. The art of the intro seems to be dying, and I hate it, because for every show in the 80s and even some in the 90s, even if the show sucked, at least the intro was really cool. I feel like they do that nowadays for like advertising, so they don't take up so much air from commercials and stuff like that. But there's no excuse for streaming shows to not do that. I also wish I like to see more like thought-provoking, more interesting stories. Something, you can have a really powerful message behind it, but use the subtext. Be more subtle about it. Stuff like that. Don't outright get in the viewer's face. Show them. Show, don't tell. So doing more subtext, more interesting stories, and cool intros. That's what I want to see. Jay Norris wants to know, how are things with my girlfriend? Well, it's been over a year, so I guess I might as well say it right now. We're not together anymore. It was unfortunately a long-distance relationship, which don't usually work out in my experiences. So, yeah. And the problem is, well, while I did feel like it was coming to an end for a while, despite, my best efforts to go visit her as often as possible, it felt like it wasn't really going to last because she was on a career path and I was at the time struggling. Ironically, now I have a full-time job and I have vacation time, so I could have went to see her, but she decided to break it off. The big problem was the timing of which she decided to break it off, because we ended in January of 2019, which was a very, very difficult year for me already because I had just started a new career, which I was very inexperienced with, so I was struggling with that. And I also had to put my dog down, and I was kind of really, really miserable for a while, which is also why my release schedule for a lot of videos last year was incredibly erratic. That's why there was only 5 or 6 cartoon clip shows that year. It was not fun, not a fun time. I guess just as a disclaimer, not that I don't think this will be much of a problem because she doesn't have an online presence. Like, she does not use social media. She barely touches Facebook. But if anybody does, come across her, don't harass her. Don't do anything like that. She doesn't have Twitter. Again, it's going to be impossible. She's not an internet person. She was very much, outdoorsy and she didn't touch a lot of technology. So, yeah, don't do anything stupid like that. But yeah, that's where I am with my girlfriend. I have videos with her on the Toy Channel. I have been considering taking them down because they're not particularly interesting anyway. But yeah, that's where I am. Brandon Gomez, what was the first cartoon you ever hated, and give your reasons why you hate it? Geez, my first cartoon I hated. I gotta go way back for this one. Anybody remember Tom and Jerry Kids? Yeah, I didn't like that show. And it was during the 80s and early 90s, the baby craze, when all the cartoon characters wanted to be they turned all the characters young. There was stuff like A Pup Named Scooby-Doo, which was still pretty good. There was Flintstones Kids, which was forgettable, and then there's Yo Yogi, which sucked. And then there was Tom and Jerry Kids, which I don't know, at the time I really did not like that show. There's just something about the way it, the pacing of it, it moved too fast, and as someone who grew up with the original Tom and Jerry shorts, it just was just nothing. To be fair, not anything since then has lived up to what Tom and Jerry was about. But Tom and Jerry Kids, in my opinion, was just one of the worst, and I hated it. I just hated watching it. Like I said, it was something about the pacing, something about the animation just didn't really work for the characters, and just generally the fact that they tried to cash in on Tom and Jerry, it's just not cool. There have been other shows of Tom and Jerry where they were, their normal selves, and it worked out better than Tom and Jerry Kids. Alright, we got only a couple left here. Hannah E., do you prefer old Cartoon Network or old Nickelodeon? Wow, that is a tough one. It's hard to say because I was raised on early Nickelodeon in the 80s and 90s, but when Cartoon Network first showed up, it definitely took my attention away from Nickelodeon, because a lot of shows and stuff that I watch and stuff that I had never seen before was suddenly all in one place. Because to watch Looney Tunes and Hanna-Barbera stuff, you had to go to all different networks. Some was on USA Cartoon Express, some was on TNT, some was on TBS and Saturday mornings, and all different places. But Cartoon Network suddenly everything was under one umbrella. So that was very fun and convenient. If I did have to pick, though, I'd probably go with early Nickelodeon, because they did have a lot of cool stuff, and a lot of stuff I still enjoy to this day came from early Nickelodeon, like Mysterious Cities of Gold. They aired that. All the game shows that they showed were always a lot of fun. And yeah, I have a lot of more fond memories of Nickelodeon, I guess, than of Cartoon Network. So imagine that. I lived before Cartoon Network existed. I am old. Kai Dog Batman Fan 30. What are my thoughts on Teen Titans Go and Thundercats Roar doing a crossover? I didn't even know that was happening until I read your question, and I could not care less about anything else in this world than that happening. It seems like it would make perfect sense. I think we all knew that was going to happen, but I just don't care. I absolutely do not care. I don't care about either one of those shows. I do not watch either one of those shows because I do not like either of those shows. So they can do that crossover all they want, but I ain't going to be there to watch it. Just like I ain't there to watch those shows. If you don't like those shows, don't watch them. That's my philosophy on bad shows. Don't watch them. Okay, final question, and I save the best one for last. Peter Ang, I know this might sound like a weird and stupid question, but what are my thoughts if there was a crossover story of Thundercats, Transformers, Silverhawks, G.I. Joe, He-Man, Tiger Sharks, Dororo, Corpse Party, Made in Abyss, My Hero Academia, Cyber 6, The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, Happy Sugar Life, Panty and Stocking, Gravity Falls, Dick Tracy, and Secret of the Kells that involved the heroes from each universe teaming up to stop the villains to try and unify the parts of Unicron. What are my thoughts on this? I know it sounds stupid. No, that sounds amazing. There's so much to unpack here, though. First of all, I'm actually not familiar with some of these titles. Some of them I know are like anime. Like I'm familiar with Corpse Party and Made in Abyss. My Hero Academia I know, of course. Happy Sugar Life, I'm assuming that's like a magical girl anime. I have no idea what that is. You know what I like about this is, like, you have all these crazy shows with like all these superheroes and giant robots and stuff, and then you have Dick Tracy. What's Dick Tracy gonna do against Unicron? He's a detective with a machine gun and a wrist communicator. I guess he can organize everybody, because that's what he did in the cartoon. By the way, look up the Dick Tracy cartoon. It is racist as fuck. I don't know. You even have the Secret of the Kells in there. Well, good on you for that reference. This sounds insane, and I would love to watch and or read this fan fiction just to see where it goes. The villains, stopping the villains, I guess the villains from each of these properties. Some of this could work, like, together, like, you know, Thundercats and Silverhawks, there was supposed to be crossovers with that, supposedly, with the original show. I know they alluded to that in the 2011 Thundercats, but I'm also amazed anybody knows what Tiger Sharks is. I know G.I. Joe and Transformers has had many crossovers before. I don't know. I'd like to see Cyber 6 in the My Hero Academia universe. That would, I feel like that would work out nicely, you know. But yeah, again, I would love someone write this, and not only will I read it, I will do a video about it. How about that? So feel free to go nuts with this one. It sounds incredible and completely over the top, and I love the idea of it. Alright, I don't know how long this video has gone on, but that's my answers to all the questions I got. I gotta get some rest now because it is very late, because I've been reading these for a very long time. Again, if I didn't get to your question, I apologize. Come to my live stream maybe, and I'll answer a question. Or, you know, help me get to 8,000 subscribers and we'll do a Q&A video again. So, yeah. Thanks for watching if you made it this far. Thanks for sending me these questions. I gotta get back to work, both my real job and my video making job. And I gotta finish setting up for my live stream. So, thanks again for watching. Thanks again for supporting me, and I will see you guys later.